I bought a house when I was 26 and fell immediately into poverty.
I'm a single parent who bought a home and I am thousands of dollars in debt.
Having a home really means buying it, signing your name on the dotted line, and then being house poor.
Owning a home is literally a scam. And in America is that you never actually own your house.
The American dream is something we have been told for a very long time now. You know it. Go to school, buy a house, and then what? The then what is the part that a lot of people are missing. Today we're going to look at some people who have bought houses and then come to find out that they aren't living that dream like they thought they would. Now, before we get into that though, make sure that you guys like, comment, and also subscribe. Help a brother out. And with that, let's take a look at these videos.
I bought a house when I was 26 and fell immediately into poverty. Okay, when I lived with my parents, I was living my best luxury lifestyle. I went to South Korea, bought a 2,000 plane ticket, didn't even blink twice. I went shopping, luxury goods, all that. Was traveling, was just, I was living it up. I felt rich. I had no bills. And I had a full-time 9-to-5 job. I was working as a nurse, okay? I was killing it. I bought my own house. That first mortgage payment came in and I was like, oh, this is a situation. But at first you think you can handle it, right? Like, what's a couple thou? What's a couple thou? I got it. But then the pipes in my 80-year-old home broke immediately as soon as I bought the house. Wiped out my savings. Then another pipe in a different area of the house broke. Okay, I'm struggling. Okay, I need help. Then my neighbor's pipe, it was a twin house, her pipe broke. And she didn't believe that her pipe broke, but her pipe broke on my side of the house. So all of that water that was coming down was spraying into my home. And then my water heater broke. When I tell y'all, I went from living in the lap of luxury to destitute immediately. Now, don't get me to fooling y'all, because it was worth it in the long run, because that house is now worth like 2 times what it was worth then. So I'm actually doing pretty good. But at the time, when I tell you I was struggling, I had to go to my parents every other day for dinner because your girl could not feed herself. I bought a
Now, these are one of those stories that a lot of people will not be able to attest to. Let me explain why. She is, and sounds to me, very lucky. Doubling in value in this market where people who have great houses don't want to sell, and the people who have bad houses are asking way too much for that house. She got very lucky. House doubling in value. Congratulations. The thing about it is, though, people who stay with their parents for a very long time feel this way because you have so much money saved up. You're able to go left, right without even thinking twice about it at all. I know that feeling when you don't have a lot of expenses, but you have a lot of money coming in. She's a nurse, and she was a nurse when she was with her parents, right? And so having that much money, no bills, imagine right now if I was to take all of your bills away. What could you do today? A lot of stuff. But congratulations to her for having her house double in value. But most people do not end up in this situation. A lot of people end up with something that they hate and they're trying to sell it, but they cannot sell it, or they have to sell it for damn near less than they paid for, if not way less than they paid for. And the last thing I want to touch on before we move on to the next video is the fact that she bought an older home. There's nothing wrong with that, but you do have to know when you buy a older home, things can happen. Even if you get an inspection, just say you go and get that inspection, everything is fine right then. They say the HVAC is fine. It may have a couple of years left. They say the pipes are fine. It may look good then, but if you are going to buy an older home, just know something is going to happen at some point in time. And that's okay. The bones in that home may be good, may be well. But just know anything at any time can happen with that older home.
Buying a home as a single parent is a bad idea. I'm a single parent who bought a home and I am thousands of dollars in debt. I thought that buying a home would be the best thing for my daughter and I. I didn't take into consideration property taxes. My mortgage went from $1,400 to $1,900 in 2 years. I'm in debt because I had 3 water leaks. Not only did I have to pay the rising property taxes, but I had to pay for the maintenance in my home. I definitely believe that home ownership requires 2 incomes. All of the things that I could do before I bought the home, all of the things I could provide to my daughter before I bought my home, I can no longer do. I am what they call house poor. If you are a single parent looking to buy a home, I hope you have thousands of dollars in savings. Equity is cool and all, but when it comes at a price, I don't think I'm willing to pay it anymore.
You have to take in consideration those property taxes because they change all the time. They go up, and you are going to have to be responsible for that increase in payment. Things happen inside of a home all the time, whether you have a new construction, whether you have an older home, things are going to pop up. Maintenance is going to be required in a new build. And she said that you need two incomes to afford a home these days. And a lot of times you do. And the thing about it is, can you afford a home if you're solo dolo, if you make a lot of money? Yes. But if you're making around an average income these days, you can get a house by yourself, but what is that gonna look like? Who knows? Depending on where you stay at, some places it's a lot easier and you can get it done. Some places you can forget about it. You'll be better off renting so you don't have to worry about maintenance. And like she said, equity is cool and all until it isn't. Sometimes you just need the cash in hand right then because you got things to handle. And two people, like she said, makes that a lot easier. But make sure y'all on one accord if you're going that route too, because that can get a little dicey as well. But that's a conversation for an entirely different day.
It's something that I often tell my friends. I too was about to purchase a home last year and I just couldn't go through with it because my main thing was that I don't want to be house poor. It did not make sense to me. And as a millennial, we know that buying a home is really the signature to your next chapter in life, right? It's a special moment. It's something that you should celebrate yourself in, and you should find it as a big moment. But a lot of us just feel when we weigh the pros and cons, having a home really means buying it, signing your name on the dotted line, and then being house poor. And yes, I'm someone who believes you should not live above your means and consider, going to a place that is more affordable, but I live in the DMV.
Oh, good luck. And I alluded to that earlier. Depending on where you at, depending on where you live, unless you want to be staying in a sugar shack, you go ahead and just sit back and rack up. Now, with that being said, let's look at these comments because I think there are some good points, some interesting takes inside of it. I bought a condo last year and I'm glad that I did it that way because I knew that I wouldn't be able to manage a whole single family home. The DMV is expensive. Depending on where you at, man, thing is crazy. I say it all the time. I do not desire to own a home at this time in my life. The market is way too crazy right now. Plus, as a single woman, I don't want to deal with the cost and burden of maintaining it. Cost and burden, that's very important, very important. The DMV is no joke. My husband and I were about to buy a townhome in MD and was like, this much for a townhouse is insane. Moved out of the state and bought a house instead. Sometimes, now this is a very important comment here, sometimes relocation might even be the best move. But the thing about it is that's easier said than done. Your whole family might be wherever you're at. You ain't trying to move like that for real. You trying to keep the nest together. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I went through the whole pre-approval process and had my budget and everything. And the math just never mathed. I'd rather keep renting for now. Sometimes that's the best option.
I became a homeowner at 22 years old, and I instantly regretted that shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you why I regretted it, though. So, I ended up putting 78,000 down on my house, right?
I don't pause a lot in the middle of videos because I like to let them talk a little bit, but 78 racks? I don't know whether to say congratulations that you were able to save that amount of money at 22 or to say, I don't know if you would have needed to put all that down at first. That almost sounds like zeroing out your savings account, but I don't know how much money this brother makes. Maybe he got it like that. I don't know. But at the end of the day, that must have been a huge house. But let's continue.
And once you get your house, right, you become house poor. Okay? Now, everybody's not gonna be house poor. I was house poor. I'm speaking from my experience, bro. I'm young as shit. Buying a house, I'm house poor at this point. I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? I did not really gauge all the maintenance that it took to take care of a house. On top of that, I had to put work into the house. They sold us the house, right? Sold the house with mold in it. How did I not know it was mold in it? Did you not get an inspector? Yeah, I had an inspector. This what these dirty.
I'm gonna say it for you, my brother. He want to say this was these niggas did to me. That's what he wanted to say. He ain't saying though.
Nasty, gritty people did. Scandalous, right? They painted over the mold so thick that the detectors couldn't get it. And it didn't even smell like mold down there, nothing. It was all dry, right? So I had to go in, get the walls chopped out, get the house waterproof, whatever that came up to. So this is just more stuff you got to come out of. But all in all, I would say that I really regretted it once I figured out how much the maintenance was, bro. And like how often you got to do certain things. And obviously it makes it a little sweeter that it's your shit and it's an investment. But for me personally, I just was not ready for that. Now the house is about to sell. I actually don't know what I'm going to do with the cash that I do get from the house. Obviously, I might invest in another property. I think that's where my head's at. But just something to like rent out or something. You know what I'm saying? Not to live in. I can't do it. I'd rather live in an apartment. I'm going to be honest. You can call me crazy all you want. But I just feel like at this point in my life, I should be living in an apartment, bro. A house is a lot. It's a lot.
I understand how you feel. I've been renting for around 6 years now. My rent is extremely low, but at the end of the day, I don't have to cut grass. I ain't got to go outside and do any maintenance to the yard. I don't have to do any of that. It's taken care of for me. If something breaks, one call, that's all. And it gets done. Now, there are nightmare situations you can get into if your landlord or whoever you are renting from is not the best. But if you find you a situation that is at least stable, consistent, it is some benefits from it. Now, I know a lot of people who are pro homeowner who are like, look, at the end of the day, it's better to be house poor than to be rent poor. I just say, different situations come up and you have to assess them accordingly. Being poor in any sense of the imagination is not good, whether it's because you're renting and you're paying a lot of money for it, or whether you own a home and you have a lot of maintenance that goes with it. And this brother right here, the fact that he was able to save that amount of money, I know for a fact that he's probably going to be able to buy a house later on down the line based off how he was able to maneuver, and the fact that he's able to save that situation that he was in. He's selling that house and now he actually learned from it, has that money, and can decide what he wants to do. It's just about as close to freedom as you're going to get in terms of this market right now, whether you're renting, whether you're buying.
I hate being a homeowner. There, I said it, and I meant it, and I hate it so much that we're moving out of our house and into an apartment. But not just any apartment, into a loft in the city with 10-foot ceilings, exposed brick, floor to ceiling windows, because I need this move for my mental health. So I decided that this was going to be the year that I focus on myself and I just free myself of all the things that were stressing me, that I didn't like, that just made me unhappy. And then I took a look around me and I realized that one of the main things that were stressing me out was trying to renovate this damn house. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm not going to do it anymore. I saw a girl on here and her response said that rent is the maximum that I will pay, and the mortgage is the bare minimum that I will pay. That I've never heard anything.
That's true in a sense now, but don't get it twisted. Rent goes up too. don't get it twisted now. And I've seen rent go up crazy numbers sometimes. So just be prepared for that as well. But let's continue and hear what else she has to say.
Anything more true, and that's exactly why I'm moving. Every time I turn around, there's another expense. There's something to pay for. Something's broke. Something needs to be fixed or replaced. I don't want to deal with that. And I personally make enough money where I could live in a nice place, where I don't have to be in a house in the suburbs renovating a 1970s fixer-upper on a budget. Like I choose not to. So we're moving. If you want to see our journey from moving from a house in the suburbs on an acre of land
to a fun little loft in the city, follow along because it's going to be fun.
And we see it once again, somebody else deciding to say, hey, forget this house stuff. I'm going back to renting where I can call somebody to fix these problems for me. The thing about it is, a lot of times people choose the wrong house either because A, they didn't get an inspection, B, the person inspecting the home did a horrible job, C, you were sold some dream that even the person who sold you the home did not believe. And with that, you have people who are regretting their decisions. Or you have a lot of situations that happen, just randomness happens. And you sometimes just simply cannot account for it. I will say this though. Back in the day when renting was definitely cheaper than buying a home, it made so much sense. You could rent, let's say your rent was $1,000, but in order for you to buy a home that you really liked, you may have to spend 2,000. I'm just throwing numbers out here. That's a $1,000 difference. You can do a lot with that $1,000. Invest it, make more business moves. You can do a lot. But now the scale is changing so much that a house may be $2,500, right? But renting may be $2,500 as well. Then the only difference becomes the maintenance. What goes wrong in that home is your fault. What goes wrong in that rental, somebody else has to deal with it. And I think that's the big thing that people are looking at now. I'm paying the same amount of money to pay for maintenance. But what happens when you go a solid year with no maintenance and you were able to maybe save up some money for an emergency fund? And in a perfect world, you'll be ready for those expenses. But a lot of times, the house that you are in because of the market does not allow you to save a dime. So you're not ready for those expenses when they come up. And that's the issue that we are finding ourselves in. It almost seems like a lose-lose situation. Because at the end of the day, when that apartment rent goes up a little bit past that number, they're not going to care that you were loyal to them for years. They're going to toss you out because you can't afford that rent anymore. If it happens that way, maybe you can continue to afford that rent for the entirety of that apartment complex being there or whatever. But you do have to know you don't own it. At any moment notice, they can get rid of you. But you don't see that as often with something that is luxury. But you do see prices go up all the time. Just keep that in mind.
I was 29 years old when I first purchased my house in LA County in California. And man, I tell you, owning a home is literally a scam. And in America is that you never actually own your house. You never actually own your house. I'm telling you, because on top of everything, you have to pay like over $10,000 a year just on property taxes. And when you don't, guess who's going to be at your door? Mr. Uncle Sam himself.
LA is crazy expensive, man. 10 bands? Property taxes? Man. Unless you sure enough got it, don't move to LA, man. That's insane.
And these are types of things that I was never aware about because, I mean, I was young when I first bought my house, so I didn't know better. But there's just so much added up. The maintenance, I tell you, that is a lot of work to do. So if you're buying a house, it's not just like paying off your house. There's other expenses involved. Having a tenant doesn't guarantee that your mortgage is always going to be paid because imagine your tenant loses their job. Who's going to pay their rent? The mortgage, I mean. It's going to be you. It's going to come out of your freaking pocket. And you can't always rely on other people to pay your mortgage for you. At least in the state of California. I don't know anywhere else, like correct me if I'm wrong, but in California, the tenants have rights and the burden of responsibility falls on the homeowner. So there's that. Also, fire department just showed up at my house yesterday and they were like, hey, it's going to be fire season. You have to cut off all your trees, do all your yard work. And I'm like, dude, is the state going to pay for that? Because I have to find someone and pay thousands of dollars for this now. And it's like, it never ends. There's always money after money after money. And if shit screws up, the burden of responsibility falls on you as the homeowner. So There's that. I mean, I would buy a house if there's multi-income, if you're going to be a multi-income household and you guys, all the people involved have stable jobs, then yes. But man, if you're single and you're buying a house, I would definitely reconsider that.
Buying a house these days is crazy. And it does help, like way, way back. I don't know if you remember from earlier in the video, but if you made it this far though, man, don't forget to like, comment, and also subscribe to the channel. It really does help a brother out. But if y'all in a situation and you're married, you got a partner and y'all holding it down together, both of y'all got stable jobs, it works out a whole lot better that way. And we're just living in that time now. It's just extremely hard for one income to support an entire house, especially when you look at just the average income of people who got very respectable jobs. It's just hard. Now, if you look at the COVID prices, you will be miscued and you may think that, look, it's different now. Those interest rates, I forgot how low it got, but like a 2% interest rate. You know how much house somebody could buy with that today? It's just so much different. If you haven't sat down and took out a mortgage calculator, when you first do it though, like just Google any mortgage calculator, put in your numbers and stuff and see how your monthly payments are going to be. And then change that number from whatever it says now, 6.1, 5.9, whatever. Put in 2.0, 2.1, 2.5, 3. And see the difference. It may make you upset. I don't know. It just might make you upset. But it's extremely hard nowadays, especially she in Cali. No, somebody with income like mine, I probably wouldn't make it in Cali. I couldn't do it. Could not do it. See my money going like that? No, sir. No. No. But look, man, the dream of buying a home shouldn't just be diminished. It's just gonna take a different way to get there. You're gonna have to maneuver in a different way, and it may and more than likely take a lot longer than many would like to say or admit or even go through. But it is what it is now. It's not the same as it was back in the day. The cost of living has risen, and wages, man, they went up a little bit, but they still haven't matched the cost of living. So you do what you do what you can, and you try to do more. And that's about it. I just hope that one day we all can enjoy the luxury, whether that's you renting and you're not having to worry about anything. If that's the life you want, live that. Or if you want to buy a house like myself, having a home, having some land where the kids can frolic and run around and do whatever they want to do, and I can sit on my porch and grill out and talk noise with the guys and have the wife on the side and we just chilling, then I'm hoping I can live that life. But until then, all we can do is keep working and keep hustling. Y'all keep doing that, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.